Hello and welcome back to another video. I know that I said there were a lot of fun videos planned for April, but April and life in general has just been moving so quickly, but I'm back and I'm ready to film some really fun videos. Being consistent with long form content is really difficult whilst also balancing a full-time job, life, friends, everything. I really want to be back and making videos, so I hope that you'll stick around with me. So in this video today, we're going to be doing a little makeup look and just chit-chatting, which I'm very excited about. We're going to be chatting about my holiday that I've just been on. I've been to Rhodes in Greece, and whether you're planning a holiday soon, you're going on holiday, or you just want to have a little bit of makeup inspiration, hope that you'll stick around and watch this video. First things first, let's get this hair out of my face. Also, this is not really a makeup tutorial. If you want a proper makeup tutorial, I have a couple on my page. So my holiday in Rhodes, Greece, this is quite a last minute holiday. We were meant to go somewhere else, but unfortunately our plans fell through. We booked the holiday with about 2 weeks to spare, which for me is an absolute nightmare because I'm a very type A organised girl, and we booked to stay in the Mitsis Alila in Faliraki. I've actually been to Rhodes before a few years ago. We booked to fly from London because we live very far away from any kind of major airport. The closest airport to us is probably Bristol, and the holiday package from Bristol would have been £600 more than if we flew from London. Decided to just drive up there, probably still saved about £300 even with the price of diesel, a hotel the day before travel and the day we got back, and everything in between. Still cheaper than flying from Bristol. So we drove up the day before our flight. We went over to the Premier Inn where we stayed. I just love a Premier Inn. And we had a lovely night's sleep and then woke up in the morning ready to go on holiday. Our actual travel day was really nice and smooth. That flight wasn't until the afternoon. We went to check in our bags. Fortunately, mine was overweight, which I'm never overweight on my bags, even though I pack a lot by 1 kg. We did the self-check-in and then I had to go over to another counter with these really lovely ladies. They weighed my bag and she said, oh, you're 1 kg over, so you can either take something out or you'll have to pay. Honestly, I just could not be bothered to be fannying about with my suitcase. So I just said to her, I'm happy to pay the fee. And she kind of looked at me and looked at her colleagues, and then she went, you know what, I'll just put it through. It was Easter weekend. She was probably trying to do a nice little gesture, and I was so thankful. I thanked her very kindly, and then we went off to go through security. We have to travel through half term because my partner works in education. I'm always worried that it's going to be so busy, and sometimes it is, but actually this time we got through airport security so quickly. We just sat and waited for our flight and did some excellent people watching. Part of the highlight of my holiday is the people watching. I just absolutely love it. We then started boarding the plane in the afternoon. We sat down in our seats and we had no one next to us, and we thought, like, this is obviously not going to last. About 10 minutes later, we had the announcement, cabin crew boarding complete. And we just looked at each other and we thought, nah, the guy's probably coming down the aisle now. No, we had the middle seat all to ourselves, guys. It was so nice. Jet2 in general was such a smooth holiday experience. We travelled with them before. I will say the plane seats are so uncomfortable, and it was also a day flight, which I much prefer. I absolutely hate night flights. We got to Greece in the evening. We were honestly very worried about the passport control because A, the new requirements came out where you have to provide a fingerprint and I think a photo of yourself. And when we went to Rhodes last time, I had to wait for about 2.5 hours to get through passport control. For about an hour and a half of that time, we were stood outside on the tarmac of the airport. And it was honestly one of the worst experiences I've had going through passport control. But it went so smoothly. We were in and out within about 20 minutes. We then went outside, found our coach, and then got the coach to the hotel. And we got there, checked in, and went to sleep. So that lands us on day 1 of our holiday. We woke up to an absolutely stunning view. We were on the 8th floor of the hotel, which was the highest floor. It was a little bit cloudy. We went down for breakfast at the lovely buffet. We are such buffet people. The weather was not too good, so there was no one at the pool, but it was our first day. We wanted to enjoy ourselves. We went down to the pool. The pool was heated, so we went in for a little swim. After a few hours, come into like late morning, early afternoon, it then started thunder and lightning. We decided to go in for some lunch, went into the buffet place, and the rain just absolutely let loose. It was like biblical rain. We were going up and getting our food and the lights were turning on and off. It was very interesting. I mean, I know it's the beginning of the season and you're to expect weather like that, but it was really bad. Unfortunately, the rain did kind of stay for the rest of that day. They had a crepe bar, which was one of our favourite places. We just sat in the crepe bar for the rest of the day and we played Uno and Go Fish, had some crepes and just really enjoyed ourselves. And after that we went for dinner, and then they had entertainment in the bar, which is like live music and also very good to people watch. All in all, we did have a really good first day. Day 2, we woke up and the weather had improved massively. We had no plans for this day. Sorry. We just spent the day at the pool trying to get some sun in because we already missed a day of tanning. Also, I just applied way too much blush. I don't know how that's happened, but we're gonna make it work. We then woke up on day 3. We had a plan to go to this place called, I think it's pronounced Kalithea Springs. I hate paying for taxis. We got on the bus, sat down, and literally like 30 seconds later, we were at the place. We didn't realize how close it was. We literally could have just walked up the road. I think people were looking at us on the bus like, what are these two idiots doing? Saved ourselves a little walk. As we were walking down to the place, I said to my partner, oh my God, there's so many cats just roaming around, which is normal for Greece, but there were so many. And then we stumbled upon, I think it's called Kalithea Cat Rescue. There's literally so many of them and you could just go in and pet the cats. And I'm not a massive cat person, I'm a little bit afraid of cats, but this was just so sweet. They were the loveliest cats. Just a nice little bonus to be able to go and do that and see that. And then we made our way to Kalithea Springs. To get in, it was about €3, but when we actually got there, they said it was free. Planning on having breakfast there because it said online that there was a cafe and it was open. Started walking around and Rhodes had had some really bad weather just before we got there. Obviously it had affected the place. A few of the areas are not looking like they did on the photos, obviously, because they had bad weather, which is completely understandable. The grounds there are just absolutely beautiful. I mean, that alone was enough to go there. The cafe wasn't open. I don't think that was opening until May anyway. I actually ended up walking back to our hotel because it was so close, and we saw some peacocks along the way. We went down to a little beach as well and threw some stones. But the thing that did annoy me was Google was not very accurate with a lot of the places, and I'll get onto that later. It said like certain things were open when they weren't. I would be careful if you're going at the start or end of the season. I wouldn't necessarily trust what it says online. Yeah, just make sure that you're checking all resources before you actually go and do something if you're going in the off season. But we did that and we walked along the beach. I did try and get in the water, but it was absolutely freezing cold, so I went to the heated pool instead. We're now on day 4 of our holiday, and we had a really nice chilled morning / afternoon, and then we decided in the evening to go to Rhodes Old Town. Got the bus, walked to the Old Town. I think maybe we're partly to blame for being so stupid and naive, but again, not everything was open. There was a fair few shops open in the Old Town and restaurants. We still had the most gorgeous walk around. I also went on the viral shell boat that I've seen everywhere on TikTok. I bought just a generic claw clip that you can buy anywhere, but I wanted to buy something from the shell boats. We wanted to go for dinner, and I had again Googled some restaurants, and on Google it had said that these restaurants were open, so I was really excited. Found a really nice one in the Old Town. Just boarded up because obviously not everywhere is ready to be open. We were walking through the Old Town looking for somewhere to eat, and it was just the places where, I don't know if this is like a controversial take, or it was just where people were trying to pull you into the restaurants. They're waiting outside with a menu, they're trying to talk to you, get you in. I am not necessarily a fan of those places because I feel like, I don't know if this is going to come across as rude, but it's just how I feel. If your restaurant is good, I will come in it on my own. I don't need somebody basically dragging me in. we just didn't end up finding anywhere that we wanted to spend our money. So we got the bus back to the hotel. We then move on to day 5 of the holiday. And at this point, the holiday is going so slow. I can't believe we're still there. We had a really chilled morning and afternoon again, just spent by the pool. For the evening, we decided, this is probably our most like random day. We decided that we wanted to go to Faliraki because that's where we were staying. Town was literally like 20 minutes on the bus. So we thought, yeah, we'll just go have a little look around. And again, Google let us down, unfortunately. Looked up some really nice restaurants, said they were open on Google, so thought, okay, we can go in, have some food, even if not everything's open, we can have a nice meal, come back to the hotel. Well, we got on the bus to go to Faliraki, and I feel like we should have seen it as a sign then when there was literally not one other person on the bus with us. We stopped off and we kind of looked at each other and we were like, what the hell's going on? Nothing looks open. We're walking around and we saw this mini golf place, and it seems like whenever we go on holiday we end up doing mini golf. We played a fun little round of mini golf. The golf course wasn't great, but it was really fun. I saw this restaurant online before we left. I said, right, let's go and see if it's open. Didn't have high hopes, and of course when we got there they were doing building works on it still. So I walked back to the bus stop and there was this really lovely cafe there that sold like pastries and ice cream. So I had a Kinder Bueno ice cream, which was delicious. We were waiting at the bus stop and I said to my partner, oh, look at these people. They had gotten out of their hire car and they were both dressed up really nicely, obviously thinking the same thing as us, like, oh, we'll go out for a nice meal. They walked around for like 10 minutes and then they came back, got in the car and left. So I think maybe it's a common thing that things aren't open, and maybe oblivious tourists like us take Google reviews quite seriously and think, oh yeah, that'll be open, and then it's not. Then move on to day 6, which sadly was our last full day. We decided to have a chill day in the hotel. We managed to relax out in the sun for a good few hours, and then sadly the rain rolled in. We were true Brits. We were sat out on the sunbed with towels over our heads because it was only raining lightly, it was fine. And then all of a sudden, unfortunately, the heavens opened and it really did rain a lot. So we couldn't brave it any longer. Back in and went up to our room, chilled out for a few hours, actually used that time to pack our bags. The afternoon, it kind of stopped raining. We decided to go for a swim. We made the most of our day. My mindset was, I'm on holiday still. I'm not at work. I don't have to wake up at 6 o'clock. I'm just going to enjoy myself. And that brings us to day 7, which was, which was our last day. Our flight didn't leave till the evening. We had basically the whole day and booked a late checkout. It just makes life so much easier. Got up and went down to breakfast as normal and went straight down to the pool, and it was beautiful. Chilled by the pool, had an ice cream. Our bags were already packed from the day before, which was ideal. I checked out of the room at like 4 o'clock and we only had an hour to wait for our coach to take us to the airport. It's so sad when you leave somewhere, but when it gets to that point, all I can think about is getting home. And I'm like, right, the holiday's over now. Checking in our bags. Somehow my bag was underweight when we left, and we checked in, went and waited. We maybe had to wait for like an hour, and then we were boarding the plane. I'm just going to quickly do my lip liner because I physically cannot talk. We've seen this in previous videos whilst doing it. Okay, lip liner is on. The flight home, honestly, was horrible. We weren't so lucky and we had someone sat next to us. She was really nice. We had really bad turbulence on the way back. I'd say I'm quite a good flyer. I do get a bit nervous on takeoff and landing, but the turbulence was really not helping. Also, like I said earlier, I absolutely hate night flights. I don't know what it is. My mum's exactly the same. I just sometimes feel a bit more like sicky on a night flight, and I just don't enjoy it like I do a day flight. There's also a gentleman who was sat on the aisle across from me who did not stop coughing for the whole flight. He didn't cover his mouth either, which was really making me feel a bit sick. And then we also had some kind of cereal farter on the plane. The entire plane journey, it just smelled like bins and egg. Like, it was just disgusting. And there was a woman kind of sat in front of me who I could see, and she kept putting her scarf over her mouth and going, oh, like that. And I was thinking, yeah, same girl, it freaking stinks. We arrived in London and we stayed again in the Premier Inn overnight, and then we drove back home. The next day it took us about 5.5 hours with the stop off. Yeah, we just had the absolute best holiday and I feel so regenerated and just kind of ready for life again. I'm just going to use my setting spray to bring a bit of life back into the face. Fan myself a little bit. Okay, so that is the makeup done. I really hope that you enjoyed hearing my stories about my holiday and maybe have given you some inspiration for your next getaway. Thank you so much for sticking around and watching this video, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye!